Before we begin, stay with me until the very end of this video, because what you are about to see start as a raw glass rod will become this. A one-of-a-kind borosilicate glass heart built entirely by hand in the flame. Every step, nothing cut out. I start by warming the tip of the amber ombre rod slowly, moving it in and out of the outer edge of the flame. You never plunge cold glass into the hottest part of a torch. The thermal shock would crack it immediately. Once the tip is glowing, I bring it into the core of the flame and begin to gather. Glass at this temperature behaves like very slow honey. Now I introduce the yellow. I bring it into the mass and wrap it around the amber core. This is where it gets interesting. As the two colors meld under heat, you start to see the shift. The amber pulls back, and the blue starts to appear in the deepest folds where the two colors meet. This isn't a technique I control completely. I guide it, but the glass decides. The more I twist and fold, the more that pattern develops. You can already see the beginning of that swirl, that movement that makes each piece different from the one before. When I have enough mass and the color layering feels right, I press the bead into the mold. The mold shapes it into a flat, round disc. This is the foundation for the heart. The pressure has to be quick and firm. If the glass cools too much before I press, it won't compress cleanly. If it's too hot, it sticks. I go back into the flame immediately to reheat and even out the surface. Then I use the graphite paddle to flatten it further and clean up the edges. The heart shape is created in one precise gesture. While the disc is still hot and workable, I use a thin pointed tool, the scalpel, and press it into the top center of the disc. The glass responds immediately. The two lobes of the heart begin to form on either side. I work quickly because the window is short. Too cold and it won't move. Too hot and it collapses. This is the moment that makes it a heart. One gesture, no second chance. Now I need to shape the bottom point of the heart. And to do that, I need a handle. I take a thin transparent borosilicate rod and I fuse it to one of the upper lobes of the heart. This gives me something to hold while I work on the lower half without touching the piece directly. With that anchor in place, I bring the lower section of the heart, the middle and the bottom, into the flame. I heat it slowly, evenly. The glass softens. And then, very gently, I begin to pull. The tip stretches. I guide it downward, rotating slightly to keep it centered. This is what gives the heart its pointed lower end, that sharp, elegant finish at the bottom. Too fast and the tip goes thin and long. Too slow and it drops. You find the pace through repetition. The glass teaches you. Now I heat a short piece of translucent rod and I fuse it directly onto the tip of the heart, the bottom point. This gives me a handle at the bottom, so I can hold the piece securely while I work on the top. And what I'm about to work on up there is the most difficult part of this entire pendant: the bail. The bail is the loop that holds the chain. It sits right at the center of the top of the heart. It has to be strong, it has to be symmetrical, and it has to look like it belongs to the piece. Getting there requires full control of the heart's position. That's what this handle is for. Now I take a very thin rod of clear borosilicate glass. And I attach it to the top of the heart, right at the center dip, to form the bale. I form a small arch, then loop the rod back and fuse it to the other side of the heart top. The clear glass against the colored heart creates a beautiful, almost invisible frame. What I'm aiming for is something elegant and slender. A bale that looks like it belongs, not like it was added. This is where the artist either wins or starts over. Once the bale is fused, I use my graphite pick to sculpt and refine each attachment point, where the clear glass rod meets the heart on either side. The graphite won't stick to hot glass. That's why it's the perfect sculpting tool. I press, I roll, I define the shape. I want the attachment to taper cleanly, not blob. I want the arch to be even on both sides. I'll go back into the flame several times between passes. Glass has to stay workable, but not too soft. This is a constant negotiation. The bale is done. Now I need to remove the handle I attached to the tip of the heart. I let the bale cool for a moment. I don't want any stress moving through the piece while I do this. Then I pick up my pliers. Large, flat grip pliers. The kind that give you control without crushing. I grip the heart firmly, and I slowly detach the translucent rod from the bottom point. The separation needs to be deliberate, not a snap, a pull, with heat if needed. What's left at the tip after detachment won't be perfect yet. There's always a small remnant, a rough spot where the rod was fused. So I bring that tip back into the flame one more time, and I finish it. I refine it until the point looks exactly the way I want it. 24 hours later, this is what came out. Yellow, purple, dark brown, and that turquoise blue at the tip. The fire decided that, not me. Available at mariusglassfusion.com. And subscribe if you want to see what comes out of the flame next.